The Denver Broncos just pulled off one of their most dominant wins this season, leaving the Falcons stunned in Week 11. In my opinion, this game is not just another victory, it may be the ticket for the Broncos to the playoffs. A few weeks ago, nobody would have believed this team could even sniff the postseason. Now, the picture looks very different. And clear, I guess. It was a comprehensive win, no doubt about it, but here comes a big question in everybody's mind: that was this the breakout game we've all been waiting for, or just a fluke? We're breaking down the star performances, the challenges they've overcome, and the road that lies ahead. Can the Broncos keep this momentum going, or will the pressure catch up to them? What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. So, the Broncos registered a solid win against the Falcons. The Broncos didn't just beat a team, they dismantled one of the league's more competitive offenses. Bo Nix looked unstoppable, throwing for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns with confidence. You could feel it from the very first drive when they marched down the field for a 70-yard touchdown. Entirely different team that was struggling earlier this season. Watching Bo Nix against the Falcons was like seeing the future of this franchise unfold in real time. Over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an 85% completion rate. Rookie quarterbacks just don't play like that. And here's the crazy part: he's getting better every week, even as defenses adjust. But honestly, how much of this success can he sustain? The NFL isn't kind to rookies, and most hit a wall eventually. Yet, with every game, Nix is proving that he might just be built differently. And it's not just his stats. Did you see that throw to the middle of the field, threading the needle between 3 defenders? That's the kind of play Broncos fans haven't seen since Peyton Manning was under center. And Sean Payton seems to think so. Remember when he said, "I've got my guy"? It sounded bold back then, but now it's looking more like prophecy. It's clear that Bo Nix is the real deal, but even the best quarterbacks need a team they can rely on. That's what makes the Broncos' chemistry so exciting and so crucial. Just look at how the players rallied around Javonte Williams after his tough outing against the Chiefs. 1 week later, he comes out like a man on a mission, and the entire team is behind him, literally pushing him into the end zone on that powerful goal line play. Courtland Sutton is another example. No diva behavior, no complaints about targets, just pure leadership. When he's not catching passes, he's out there celebrating his teammates' success and lifting them up off the turf. That's the kind of attitude that can carry a team through tough times. Besides the great chemistry and offense efforts, it's consistency that will determine if this team is truly playoff bound. And speaking of the playoffs, have you noticed how this one win has completely changed the narrative? Suddenly, analysts are taking the Broncos seriously. But is it enough to silence the critics? The next game against the Raiders will be the ultimate test. Can they keep that fire alive, or will the pressure start to crack the foundation? If the Broncos' chemistry is the glue holding them together, the road ahead will test just how strong that bond really is. Their next matchup against the Raiders is a must-win for heading to the playoffs. The Raiders might be struggling, but divisional games are never easy, and the stakes couldn't be higher. A win here keeps the playoff dreams alive. A loss? It could unravel everything they've worked for. And it doesn't stop there. The Browns are up next, another winnable game on paper, but the Broncos can't afford to look past anyone. The schedule might seem favorable now, but in the NFL, every week is a battle. This is where great teams separate themselves from the pack, not just by winning, but by staying consistent. The real question is, can this team keep building their momentum, or will the pressure of being so close to the playoffs weigh them down? Because let's not forget, there's no margin for error here. A slip-up in the next 2 weeks could spell disaster, especially with tougher games waiting on the other side of their bye. And it wasn't just the offense. The defense stepped up in a big way, shutting down one of the league's most dynamic offenses. No touchdowns allowed. Have you noticed? The Falcons came in with serious weapons, and the Broncos made them look average. The Falcons came in with players like Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and a receiving core that would start on most teams. And yet, they didn't sniff the end zone. The Broncos' defense was everywhere, making key stops and showing the kind of discipline that's been missing in recent years. But as we are looking ahead to the playoff hopes, losing Alex Singleton for the season was a huge blow, and replacing his production and leadership isn't going to be easy. The Broncos will need their depth to step up, and so far, they've been answering the call. This defense thrives on energy and grit, and you can see how Sean Payton's influence is shaping their mindset. Sean Payton, the real X factor, in my opinion. If there's one person who deserves a standing ovation for this Broncos resurgence, it's Sean Payton. From the moment he took the reins, he's been crafting this team into a squad that believes in itself, something we hadn't seen in Denver for a long time. Payton's influence is everywhere. Look at Bo Nix. When Payton said, "I've got my guy," it sounded ambitious, maybe even risky. But now, that confidence is paying off in spades. Nix is playing like a seasoned pro, and it's no accident. Payton's play calling has allowed Nix to thrive, utilizing his strengths while gradually helping him adapt to the NFL's challenges. Sean Payton has shown he can adjust when things go sideways, but can he outthink the league's best defensive minds in the weeks ahead? Can the Broncos maintain their offensive balance when the stakes are at their highest? At the start of the season, no one believed in the Broncos. Pundits called them a bottom-tier team, some even ranking them dead last. The doubters were loud and the receipts were everywhere. But after what we've seen over the past few weeks, one thing is clear. This team isn't just silencing the critics, they're rewriting the narrative. Bo Nix was labeled a risky pick. Analysts questioned whether he was ready for the NFL spotlight. Now, those same people are scrambling to hop on the bandwagon, calling him the next big thing. And it's not just Nix. This entire roster, from Javonte Williams to the defense, is showing grit and determination that no one saw coming. But here's the thing about doubters. They don't go away quietly. Every win brings new scrutiny. Can they keep it up? Was it just a fluke? The Broncos aren't just playing to win games, they're playing to prove that this turnaround is real, that they're a team to be feared. So, the pieces are there, but the margin for error is razor thin. Can this team rise above the challenges, or will the weight of expectations pull them back down? One thing's for sure, every game from here on out will be a test of their heart, their skill, and their will to win. All the momentum, all the progress, all the playoff hopes, it all hinges on what happens next against the Raiders, and we won't have to wait long to find out. If the Raiders' game is about keeping the playoff dream alive, the Browns' game will be about proving the Broncos can beat one of the league's toughest defenses. This isn't just a matchup, it's a statement opportunity. The Browns have built their identity around a relentless pass rush and a secondary that forces mistakes. For the Broncos, this is the kind of challenge that will test every part of their game. So, what do you think? Is this the beginning of a Cinderella story for the Broncos, or are the challenges ahead just too steep to overcome? One thing's for sure, every game from here on out feels like the playoffs have already started, and if they keep playing the way they did against the Falcons, anything is possible. So, here we are. The Broncos standing at the crossroads of a season that could go down in history or fade into another what-if story. The pieces are falling into place, but the road ahead is anything but easy. Will Bo Nix continue to rise under pressure? Can Sean Payton navigate the challenges and keep this team focused? And most importantly, will the Broncos finally prove to the league and to themselves that they're playoff material? We want to hear from you. Do you believe this team has what it takes to make a deep playoff run? Or are the challenges ahead just too much to overcome? How do you think they'll fare against the Raiders next week? And who do you think needs to step up the most for the Broncos to keep their dream alive? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of the action as the Broncos' journey unfolds. Every game from here feels like the playoffs have already begun, and we'll be here to break it all down every step of the way. See you next time.